Howard, the young fifth queen, was said to have cried openly at their wedding feast as she watched her husband devour course after course with mechanical compulsion. The cost of feeding Henry's monstrous appetite had become staggering. The royal kitchens consumed nearly a quarter of England's entire annual revenue. Forests were felled to fuel the palace fires, and the endless demand for meat sent prices soaring across the realm. Farmers were forced to supply livestock as tribute, creating shortages that left the poor malnourished. Chroniclers of the time could not miss the irony. While their king ate himself to death, his subjects starved in silence. As his health worsened, Henry's meals grew even more ritualized. Each day he spent hours dictating elaborate menus, reading them like military campaigns against the animal kingdom. The lists still survive in royal archives: swans, calves, pheasants, peacocks, pies and puddings arranged in endless succession. His relationship with food had evolved into an act of defiance against mortality itself. His sleep patterns too grew erratic. Unable to rest lying flat, he often fell asleep sitting upright in his chair, his head dropping into the remains of his meals. Servants stood helpless as he snored, half choking, sometimes waking with a start only to demand more food. These pitiful episodes became a regular spectacle at court, both tragic and grotesque. By 1546, Henry VIII had become a monstrous parody of his youthful self, a mound of diseased flesh that required an army to sustain. The floors of Hampton Court had to be reinforced so that they wouldn't collapse under his weight. The man who had once danced until sunrise now could barely stay conscious through a single meal. His body was shutting down after years of relentless abuse. The ulcers on his legs had grown so deep that they were said to reveal glimpses of bone. His physicians described them as caverns of corruption, perpetually leaking foul fluids. The stench was so intolerable that servants vomited while changing his bandages. Yet, despite this, the king continued to gorge himself, unmoved by the horror of his condition. What made his decline even more appalling was his total refusal to accept it. Even as his body decayed before everyone's eyes, Henry continued to plan feasts as if preparing for festivals. When his doctors tried to substitute lighter fare, broths, vegetables, smaller portions, he erupted in blind fury. Moderation, he declared, was treason. When his personal physician, Dr. William Butts, dared to suggest restraint, the king had him executed. By this point, Henry's meals defied all sense and proportion. Though barely able to move, he consumed feasts that could have fed entire households. Breakfast alone might include a whole roasted fowl, a slab of beef, multiple meat pies and tankards of ale. Within hours, he demanded what he called his morning refreshment, another full spread of meats, cheeses, and wines. By evening, he would have eaten enough to satisfy a regiment. The logistics of feeding him had become grotesque.